Hi, this is Richard Fields with this week's Report from the Fields. In mid-March, Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, was added to a Signal group chat including top U.S. military brass and intelligence personnel that ultimately discussed plans for United States military forces to attack the Houthis in Yemen. The plans discussed on that group chat were eventually successfully carried out. Signal, although encrypted, is a commercial operation, not a government-controlled secure communications platform. Here's the background. The Houthis are an Iran-backed rebel group in Yemen who effectively control much of that country. To show support for Hamas, they have been launching rocket and drone attacks on ships in the Red Sea, effectively shutting down shipping through the Suez Canal and forcing ships to travel around the southern tip of Africa to get from the Middle East to Europe. Goldberg did what any self-respecting journalist would do. He reported on what happened in his magazine. Blame for the incident looks like a circular firing squad. The Trump administration is denying that there was any national security breach. There was. They are also attacking Goldberg, who is just the messenger. The left-leaning press is piling on the Trump Department of Defense hierarchy for their lax approach to national security. The right-leaning press is attacking Goldberg and The Atlantic for doing its job and violating secrecy laws. What's not happening is a robust effort by the press to defend a journalist for doing his job and questioning why those government secrecy laws exist in the first place. In a just world, the people should be able to protect their secrets, and the government should be totally transparent. Another thing not happening, although Vice President Vance mentioned it in the chat, are serious questions about why the U.S. is getting involved in a shooting war on the other side of the world when only 3% of American shipping is affected by the effective closure of the Suez Canal. But the majority of European shipping is very much affected. It's high time for two things to happen. First, the United States needs to quit involving itself in other countries' fights, whether it's Israel versus Hamas, the Houthi rebels versus the government of Yemen, Ukraine versus Russia, China versus Taiwan, Azerbaijan versus Armenia, and rebels versus the governments in Sudan, Myanmar, the Sahel, and Haiti. Have we learned nothing from our hideously unsuccessful and extremely expensive adventures taking sides in the wars between, Iraq and Kuwait, Afghanistan and the Taliban, North and South Vietnam, North and South Korea, etc. Second, it's time for journalists to start defending free speech instead of condemning those who practice it, like Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, and now Jeffrey Goldberg. Government malfeasance and self-destructive policy is the issue here, not reporters exposing it. I'm Richard Fields, and that's this week's Report from the Fields. See you again next week.